Headlines from an African perspective.
29 minutes to 10. Certainly one story that is capturing global attention is this issue. It's happening out in the Mediterranean where the largest civilian flotilla in more than a decade, the Global Simud Flotilla, has set sail in a bid to breach Israel's blockade of Gaza. On board is South African lawmaker and grandson of Nelson Mandela, Inkosi Zwelivelile Mandela. He says Palestinians today face conditions far worse than apartheid. We have him live now. Inkosi, thank you so much for speaking to us. My first question is, where exactly are you docked, if you're able to share that? And if you're docked, or is the flotilla moving towards Gaza as we speak?
Good evening, Tsepiso, and your viewers on Channel Africa. There's the Global Simud Flotilla have already sailed, as you would know, that on the 31st of August, they sailed out of Barcelona, coming to Tunis. And we, as the South African delegation, wanted to move from the southern tip of Africa to the northern tip of Africa, so that we present a united Africa speaking with one voice in support of the Palestinian struggle. We sailed out of Tunisia 2 days ago towards Italy, where we were able to meet outside Sicily and refuel all other boats that are on the mission. We have with us about 26 boats out of Tunisia, that is Barcelona and Tunisia. We will be joined by another 6 boats out of Greece and another 18 boats out of Italy. So this has become one of the largest flotilla ever witnessed yet. We are currently just outside Sicily, wanting to join with the other boats in the next day or two. The entire flotilla will come together.
Now, some have seen this voyage as one of civil disobedience, but you are obviously saying it's a humanitarian duty. It's a risky voyage. You've already faced drone strikes, engine failures, I believe, and naval threats. Tell us a little bit more about how this experience has been so far and how you're managing to keep morale alive on the boats.
So let us be clear. This is not a civilian disobedience. Governments have failed the Palestinians. International institutions that are supposed to preserve international law and maritime law have failed the Palestinians. The United Nations has failed the Palestinians. Having classed this as a genocide, they need to be telling the global community what are the next measures they are putting in place. Are they sending in a peacekeeping mission to ensure that no life is lost further in Gaza? Are they putting an arms embargo on Israel? So this is definitely not a disobedience from civil society, but it is ensuring that we prevent this genocide from carrying on. Many of us, as you would know, are peace-loving humanitarians that have come together from 44 different countries to mobilize civil society across the globe in ensuring that we are able, when governments fail, we the people must rise. And in this regard, we have mobilized society in support of the Palestinian struggle. What has been worth a while for us to even mention is that it has been through ordinary men and women right across the globe that have utilized the electronic intifada and social media to break down the Israeli propaganda and lies that has been perpetuated through Western media. We have been able to turn the tide in favor of the Palestinian struggle. Today, we are witnessing major protests across towns and cities right across the globe. And we are calling on the global society and the global community, just as they were able to rise and stand side by side with us during our struggle for liberation, isolating apartheid South Africa and finally crippling it and bringing it to its knees. We can today, as free citizens of the globe, we South Africans, being beneficiaries of international solidarity, can continue to be the voice of the oppressed and the most vulnerable. And we should be utilizing our experiences into ensuring that we shape and further the Palestinian struggle.
Because Mandela, you speak about the symbolism. Your grandfather, Utata Madiba himself, said that we cannot talk about freedom without the Palestinians. And I want to talk about not only you, but the rest of the flotillas that are joining your mission. Do you think you will end up with symbolism, or do you think there'll be success? Particularly given the fact that other flotillas before have met a violent end, or a rather forceful end in some cases. Are you prepared to risk not only your lives or being attacked for this mission?
Well, first and foremost, let us also understand that our founding father of our democracy and our global icon knew very well back then the importance of international solidarity. So it was in 1962 that he embarked on this very journey, visiting about 15 countries on the African continent, mobilizing the continent to support our struggle for liberation. And in this regard, we know very well that the Palestinians, for them to be successful in their fight for their liberation, they need the support from the global community. And you have once again correctly say that we have been attacked on numerous occasions. There has been 38 flotillas that have sailed, including this one thus far. 5 of them have been successful, but the others have been met with brutal force from the apartheid state of Israel. We must make it clear, with the bombing of our 2 ships, the Family boat and the Alma boat in Tunisia, that was a desperate attempt by apartheid Israel in breaking our morale and instilling fear amongst our participants. But this has simply united us and has boldened us to want to fulfill the mission, because our mission is simple. We are not carrying weapons. We are not terrorists. We are bringing food, medicine, humanitarian aid, and are bringing hope to the Palestinians.
I don't have to tell you this, Inkosi Mandela. One man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist, a very well-known saying that has been particularly referred to regarding South Africa. What about the Israeli state? It would see this as a form of aggression, but do you think, just looking at the people who are aboard the flotilla, I mean, it's an interesting mix, isn't it, of artists, activists, even U.S. veterans. Do you believe that this flotilla of 44, how many is it, 50 vessels or more, will finally help change global opinion?
I want to constantly cement that global opinion has been changed. This is why you are seeing major protests in every city and every town across the globe. But this again shouldn't be viewed in the sense of personalities. Yes, we do have doctors, we do have members of parliament, we do have journalists on board. But this is ordinary citizens of the globe who say that they will not sit idle any longer whilst a live genocide is being carried out in full view of the camera. We will not watch over 1 million people being starved to death. And therefore, we will do everything within our means to mobilize the global community, exert pressure on our members of parliament and governments in supporting the Freedom Flotilla and ensuring that the much needed humanitarian aid reaches our brothers and sisters in Gaza. We want to make a call to those in particular that are sitting at home to make every possible means in isolating apartheid Israel.
Just a final question. You lamented at the beginning of our discussion the lack of a serious or effective action by the United Nations. When the news reached you, and I'd imagine it had reached you, that the UN Independent International Commission of Inquiry on the occupied Palestinian territory said Israel has committed genocide against Palestinians, was that something that gave you encouragement, that buoyed your spirits, all of you on these vessels, that something, the needle is shifting?
Of course, we do appreciate the report and the pronouncement that Israel is carrying out a genocide, but this has been going on for the past 77 years. And the UN has been dragging its feet. Even with this pronouncement, we want to know what are the resolutions that will be implemented by the United Nations in ensuring that this genocide does not continue a day further. We cannot continue watching babies being murdered, babies being starved to death, babies continuously amputated in Gaza, and therefore there's a sense of urgency behind this. And I want to make a simple example. In South Africa, as much as we applaud His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa and our government for taking apartheid Israel to the International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Court, when Colombia withdrew its coal from apartheid Israel, South Africa has become the #1 supplier of coal to apartheid Israel. So we are fueling the genocide, and we need to call on South Africans and civil society to ensure that we stop now with a sense of urgency the exporting of coal to apartheid Israel.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us. That is Inkosi Zwelivelile Mandla Mandela, who is aboard the Global Simud Flotilla, as we mentioned, the largest civilian flotilla that is headed to try and end the blockade of Gaza. And as he mentioned, they have joined countless of other vessels, 50 or more vessels, about 44 countries, and myriad of activists from all different walks of life are trying to take on that mission, which several countries, including South Africa, has warned that it is a very dangerous mission. It brings the time to exactly, let's say 10 seconds before 15 minutes to 10.